Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Marty Smith podcast here at Outsider. Obviously, I'm your host, Marty Smith. Got a cast of thousands today. Travis Rockholds with me, as always, and the voice of Coffeetown football. The legend, Wes Blankenship, is here to share with us what it's like to have a lifelong dream fulfilled as his Bravos win the World Series here in 2021. How do you define what that means for Georgians everywhere?
Well, I think it really takes this monkey off of the back of people that feel like it was really going to be impossible to see either the Falcons or Braves, Hawks, Georgia Tech win a championship. We've now seen with our own eyes that is possible. I was 5 years old the last time the Braves won a World Series, and it just kind of, I think it just tears down that narrative. That's what the Braves are saying. That was their unofficial hashtag, kill the narrative that an Atlanta team can't win it all. So they did it, and it was special to see. I went to Game 5 where they lost, but I got to see a World Series Grand Slam with my brother and some of our high school buddies. So that was fun. That was special. We'll never forget that. And then getting to FaceTime after Game 6 when they won it and talk to all those same people, sip some whiskey into the wee hours of the morning and celebrate something that we hadn't seen in a quarter century. It was awesome.
How'd it feel?
Are you sober yet?
I got to tell you, my alcohol intake has increased a great deal. I normally don't drink very much, if at all, on weekdays, but this whole postseason run has changed that trend for me. So I'm getting back on track this week.
Well, being a parent, I can tell you that might change as you progress through parenthood too, sir. I used to be the same way. I was a weekend warrior, but not now. I had plenty of wine last night, in fact. I'm partly cloudy and ready to get rowdy here today on this podcast. We got so much to discuss, of course, starting with the Braves, as Wes was discussing there. Got the CMAs coming up this week. College football is in full swing. We'll discuss that. But I want to start today with something that's very important to all of us at Outsider, and that is Veterans Day coming up on Thursday. We're so grateful for our veterans and the sacrifice that they've made to make sure that we live in the greatest country in the world. It's funny to me, man, what we consider heroic. And this guy's a hero or that guy's a hero. What's really heroic is all of those who made the personal decision to serve in the United States military and sacrifice so that we can be free. And I wanted to start our show saying that. Anybody that knows anything about me knows that my grandfather served in World War II, and I had the great opportunity to sit him down and have a long conversation with him about that service in 2009. It was about a 6-hour conversation about his time in the Battle of the Bulge and serving under General George S. Patton. So thank you. If you've served this country, we're grateful for you, and we're thankful for everything that you've done. Certainly here at Outsider, I'll speak for everybody involved. So wanted to get the show started that way today. All right, so I was in the carpool line earlier, and some of the most amazing,
the worst place to be at?
It's a test of patience. It's a very unique test of patience, but I will tell you, I've learned this year that some of the greatest conversations that I have with my daughter, my youngest, Vivian, happen in that carpool line, because we drop her older two siblings off at the high school and the middle school, and then there's this substantial window of time between dropping them off and getting over to the elementary school where she goes and dropping her off. So we sit in this lengthy snake of cars that is backed up for a mile outside the elementary school until 7:45 when they finally open that carpool line. I mean, we're usually sitting there in that line for 15 minutes, maybe more some days. And yesterday, Lainey took her and her buddy Ava down to the American Girl store. All right. So they go down to the American Girl store, and I am trying to follow Vivian detailing the play-by-play for me about their experience at the American Girl store. She may as well have been speaking Sanskrit. I mean, I don't know what she's
You
talking about,
speak
getting hair
Sanskrit?
done.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I don't. I think you're trying to say she speaks Spanish. I don't think you can speak Sanskrit, Marty.
Yes, you can. Why can't you?
That's
Sanskrit is a
Rosetta
language.
Stone. I thought that
Sanskrit
was.
is a. Nope.
I don't know, man. I think that's like it's like Latin, right? Like it's written on a stone somewhere.
It might be on a tablature. It might be on some parchment sealed away somewhere. Sanskrit, but you can't speak it. How can you write something and not speak it?
I think it's more communicated through the power of song. I think that's how Sanskrit works.
Really? Well, aren't you speaking if you're in a song?
You say it with your heart.
Okay. Well, Travis is looking it up right now, so we'll see what he has to say here.
It's spoken by
know
Les.
Wait, what did you just say? Spoken? Say it again for the people in the back, Rockhold.
Say it in Sanskrit.
Nobody speaks it, Marty. Listen, Vivian's smart, but she's not speaking Sanskrit.
What? Did you not just say the word spoken? What? You didn't finish your sentence.
Okay, then yes, it can be spoken.
Okay.
All right.
So she was.
I wasn't saying it doesn't exist. I just wanted to clarify that it was like an actual thing that's still spoken out there. I'm glad to hear it.
I do wonder if it's even still around. Is Sanskrit extinct? Travis, go to the Google machine and tell us what you think.
The first
anyway,
thing
as Travis looks that up
from the BBC, it's now spoken by less than 1% of Indians and mostly used by Hindu priests during religious ceremonies.
See, spoken with your heart, just like I said.
So wait, are we all right? I mean, have we found a harmonious ending here?
So it's spoken by Indians, Hindus, priests, and Vivian.
That's awesome.
Vivian.
Well, as she was detailing this outing for me, I thought about the fact that, like, this is the one place, this carpool line, which I have loathed and Lainey cannot tolerate. It's the one place where I get undivided attention from my little girl. And so I am finding great opportunity in this moment to listen to her tell me about her little Caroline, her American Girl doll, getting her hair done and all the little dresses and accessories that they get to look at, and helping her buddy Ava pick out. This was Ava's first time she ever got an American Girl doll. And so they're picking out like what, I guess there's a trillion different options that you can get about the eye color or hair color or whatever. And so they're picking out the perfect doll for Ava. And Vivi looked at me. She goes, "Dad, I got to be honest. It was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. We had so much fun." And I said, "Well, what was fun about it?" She goes, "Well, we got to eat at Panera in the food court." Don't you want that perspective in life? I want that perspective in life.
I want to be able to have that kind of joy in life.
Me too.
I think I think the lesson here is to be more like, how old is Vivian?
9.
Be more like a 9-year-old.
Well, I know this. Those conversations just fill me up. And she loves music, that one.
But have you been to the American Doll store? Is that something that Lainey kind of... What's that like? Because
I've been once.
As a single male, it sounds like...
You can't show up there, Travis.
It sounds like going to an IKEA. I just want to avoid.
Yeah, if I were you, I wouldn't go to the American Girl store.
No, I'm not saying Travis. I'm going to go now.
I'd stay away from there if I were you, because they might call John Law on you.
No, I'm not saying now. I'm just saying, like, as like, if
Travis
you have girls.
Back.
Wes, do you have a boy or girl?
We have a girl. She'll be 2 this winter. So American Girl, feel like is in my future. And the Cabbage Patch Doll assembly plant, if that's what you want to call it, is actually within a couple hours of us here in Georgia. And I went once, and it terrified me. So
wait a minute.
If it comes down to, yeah,
they
dude,
still make them.
They still make them, dude.
They do.
They
I didn't know that.
They pop out of this giant piece of cabbage. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's a spiritual experience that I hope I never see again.
I think you're going to, though. You have to take your daughter there.
I'll go to the American Girl store before we go back to that Cabbage Patch.
My buddy Tony.
But the assembly, No,
ahead,
the
Wes.
assembly of the American Girl reminds me of G.I. Joes in a way. Like there was that G.I. Joe, I feel like, that every kid wanted, whether it was the paratrooper, the heavy artillery. You could assemble the G.I. Joes in a similar way, but it's nowhere near the commitment of the American Girl, from what I
Well,
understand.
see, maybe the American Girl will evolve in a similar fashion that the G.I. Joe did. See, back in the day, the G.I. Joe was like a big, tall action figure, like a big old badass. And then cartoons happened, and they became littler badasses. And you had Snake Eyes. Remember Snake Eyes?
Yes.
Who else was there? I should know all their names. I forget. Was there a guy named Gung Ho? Did I make that up?
You may have,
but-
but I was the bigger guy. I liked the bigger ones. I was a little more old school, I think, than
I had
the cartoon.
so
was
many
awesome.
G.I. Joe action figures when I was a kid. I mean, I appreciate that my parents kept buying them for me for every birthday and every Christmas. But that was brilliant marketing. Whoever, and I watched a documentary on this during COVID, during all the quarantine lockdown on Netflix.
Wait, did you say Gung Ho?
Yeah, wasn't there a Gung Ho?
Yeah, Gung Ho was a Marine.
Thought so. He was a sleeveless, yoked up dude who had a little hat on his head, wore shades.
I don't have a photo of him, but I know that his grade was he was an E7.
All right, what's that mean?
I think he was.
That mean he speaks Sanskrit?
Yes, he speaks. I think he's more of kind of the rank and file. I'm not sure though. We're just getting reckless here with things.
How's your
that's
name
okay.
Gung Ho and your rank and file? No one named Gung Ho has been rank and file in anything ever.
I'm looking up his
trying to
pay
think.
grade.
So what I loved about G.I. Joe the most, I'll never forget. Do y'all remember the Humvee? The green
Oh, yeah.
G.I. Joe Humvee that was about, I don't know, maybe a foot long. I got that thing for maybe my, I don't know, 9th or 10th birthday. And, you know, I grew up working on a cattle farm, my family's farm, and we have Sinking Creek runs right through our land. We have like, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile maybe of creek front land. And I would take that G.I. Joe Humvee down to the creek side with all my little G.I. Joes. And going back to the mindset and the perspective of a 9-year-old. I want to go feel that again. Where, I mean, I didn't care about anything in the world except for making the perfect bunker for Gung Ho and the boys with that Humvee and that mud and that water. It was awesome. Like, it was just so simple. And I want that back in my life. I don't have that right now.
And G.I. Joes were the toys that you could. So I had two groups of things that I would always get. It was G.I. Joes and then starting lineups. But starting lineups.
Everybody had starting lineups.
But I mean,
Travis, like you and I and my little brother had very similar action figure interests, man. You're bringing me back, dude.
But see, here's the thing with a lot of my starting lineups, I didn't take them out of the box. I collected them. Now, or if I got duplicates, then I would open up one. But a lot of them, they're still in the box. Like my bedroom, if you go to my bedroom back home in Ohio, it's like being whisked back to like 1996. There's still starting lineups hanging up on the wall.
I have Michael Jordan's first 2 starting lineups right over here. I have them both still in the package. Yeah.
I've got a couple still in the package also. Like my dad.
How much older am I than you two? Like 10 years older?
I'm 33.
Yeah. How old
I'm
are you?
31.
Wes? Okay, I'm a lot older than you guys. But I had starting lineups too. I guess I was a little bit more of a fossilized human than y'all are, but
The
nonetheless.
first starting lineup that comes to my mental image is Jerry Rice. I feel like there's one where he's kind of like his hands are up. Am I making that up?
No. Do you have
That is
Then there's the Jerry Rice, Steve Young, both in the package. I have that one. I think Jerry Rice
it's
is
a 2-for-1,
and I think he's
I
actually
didn't remember that.
I think he's actually wearing compression shorts in the starting lineup. I'm looking it up. It might have been Steve Young.
That is
sort of
insane
unfortunate.
detail.
Listen, starting lineup were Steve Young was wearing compression shorts in the starting lineup. Jerry Rice had full uniform on.
So what was that about then? Why did they
Like a
choose to
practice?
give Steve? Yeah, I mean, why would Jerry be dressed and ready to go to battle,
I don't
and
know if you can
Steve
see
would
it.
be in his compression shorts? Was he late for the meeting?
Quarterbacks got treated differently. Practice time, probably just like, hey, they're not going to get hit anyways.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Seems odd.
I think Steve Young probably just showed up to practice and was like, I'm wearing shorts today. What are you going to do?
We should get Steve on the phone and ask him why he didn't show up in his uniform.
I
Get on
wonder,
that, Travis.
I wonder if he has any idea about this. I'll hit up
So
ESPN.
you know
and
how-
Oh,
see
he
if I get
knows.
You know how guys like now get pissed off about their Madden ratings or whatever? Do you think before Madden existed and we only had starting lineups, that was the thing? Like Steve Young's, like why didn't they put pants on me in my starting lineup?
Yeah, for sure.
think that-
William Floyd definitely walked in the locker room in San Francisco holding the Jerry Rice, Steve Young starting lineup going, Steve, what the hell, man? How come they didn't put no pants on you, dude?
It's a simpler time.
I had a Danny White Dallas Cowboys starting lineup, and my aunt and uncle, one of the dogs, got a hold of it and ripped off one of his arms. And you would have thought it was Danny White. Why the hell did I care? But it was one of my starting lineups. But I still have it to this day. I was like, and every so often I'll send a photo to him. Like,
What is your most valuable athletic trading card that you have in your collection?
trading card. Oh, gee. Oh, Lord.
Sport doesn't matter.
Well, not to like overdo the Braves fanboy stuff here, but I got a Chipper Jones rookie somewhere in my parents' basement that I'd shed grown man tears if I lost it.
You need to get Chipper to sign it.
Yeah, you should get him to autograph that. What are you doing, Wesley? Come on.
Chipper's kind of a recluse. Chipper hasn't, and we can get back to the trading card. I do have one note on Chipper. I don't believe he's tweeted about the Braves winning the World Series. Not that that's the benchmark of communication here. I'm glad it isn't, but I kind of respect that because I feel like Chipper is just letting the guys have their moment.
Well, it's also because Chipper's probably in a deer stand right now, still celebrating it.
True.
So Travis will remember better than I do, but I swear last April we had Chipper Jones on Marty Smith's America, and he picked the Braves to win the World Series. Now, he was all in on talking about how Acuna was going to be the MVP and before the injuries and et cetera, et cetera. But Travis, didn't he pick them to win it?
I could go back and check, but I don't want to. I think we're all in agreement that Chipper's amazing, but for Chipper to pick the Braves, it's not exactly like this revelatory. That's like
won since 1999.
Okay, but that's like West
Chipper
picking the
plays it
Georgia
straight.
Bulldogs to win the national championship.
Chipper
That's not
plays
like a
it
crazy take.
I don't know. I think Chipper's a little bit more objective, and I'm objective about Georgia. I've seen enough in my day to not like be that rose-colored glasses guy that can't see the truth. You know. Now, this
What's the
team
truth this year?
is the truth. This team's the truth.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
Travis. Why? I can just name off the starting lineup on their defense. I mean, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, Keely Ringo. I mean, it's like every level of the defense. The secondary was the biggest question coming in, and they're actually really freaking good too. It starts and ends with the defense. I think if you're Kirby Smart and you're hearing for the last 3-4 years that you can't win a championship with defense anymore, I think Kirby kind of took that personally. That's the Michael Jordan meme right there, Last Dance. And I took that personally. I mean, I think that's how Kirby feels about it. That's what he's trying to prove. And so far, it looks like he can. But if they get in a shootout, I do want to see how much JT Daniels is potentially needed at quarterback. But Stetson's got the guys rallied around him right now. He's got that intangible. He's pulling plays out of his ass.
First of all, does the Braves winning change your approach and how you view the Georgia Bulldogs?
What do you mean, like
as
like
just
if
like
they,
a
like if they don't win, I'll be okay with.
Well, no. Did you now you think, okay, one team won, like that monkey's off the back, like we can do it? Does it change like how you feel? Like are you a pessimist still? Kind of like a curse, something's going to happen to us, or does it change?
No, I think it makes it feel like that much more. I guess. I mean, look, I grew up listening to Larry Munson. He was the most pessimistic guy there was when it came to covering the team and with you. But I think you're on something there, Travis.
But the reason, so last week I said that I only fear one team, and I actually want to amend that. I no longer fear any team in college football. The reason I don't fear Georgia is because I still wonder about that offense. That defense is elite, no doubt about it. But I wonder if Georgia has to go down there and score with 2 minutes or something like that. Can they do it with Stetson Bennett? And also, are we past
what
the
do you
point?
think, Marty? I mean, you've seen him up close this year more than I have. I've watched a lot of games at home.
I would have told you when JT got hurt and was missing those games that I had a lot of concern whether or not they could win a shootout, but all he's done is continue to prove me wrong. I mean, I feel like Kentucky has a pretty good defense. I mean, they got a really good front seven at Kentucky. And, I mean, he put up 30 on them. And the thing that impresses me the most about it is he's able to drop it in the chimney. I didn't know he has improved his, first of all, arm strength, but second, the deep ball has become something he can do. And that was not the case a year ago. And so I give him a lot of credit for working really hard to get better at that. Now, I mean, look, man, when they face Alabama in the SEC championship game, I don't, right now I have no idea who I would pick. I don't know. I don't. I would have to really take a lot of time considering it. I've said to Travis, and we've debated this last week, that I think Bama losing was bad for the rest of the country. And Travis has a completely different take that he says now you can see that they're vulnerable and can be beaten. I personally, I look at it the other way. I think it proved to all those younger players that they can get beat if they're not ready to play. And that makes it a lot easier on Saban to get them ready to play. So it's just going to be a hell of a matchup. And I can't wait to see what happens. I think we're probably all in agreement that that's what we expect in the SEC championship game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think so.
I think that's, I don't see Auburn beating Bama. Now they could, but I just don't. I think
of course they could, dude. It's Bo Nix, and it's going to be on the plains, and you just never that forget the record thing. That one's going to be a monster in the Iron Bowl this year.
And it's not like Bama. I mean, Bama didn't look like Bama this past week in LSU. They look like a shell of themselves out there. So if they don't get it together, you're right. Because that game is at Auburn and Jordan Hare, Bo Nix is a different player at home.
It's just a crazy year, man. We tape this thing on Mondays. We won't know what the college football playoff rankings look like until Tuesday evening. But right now, for me, I got Wes's Bulldogs at 1. I still keep Bama at 2. I'm putting Ohio State in. They were at 5 last week, and I'm putting them in. I think that they are very dangerous. And I know Travis is the most biased person I know when it comes to his team. So I know that's how he feels.
Well, so last
where are
week,
we with Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
They aren't winning with any sort of. They're struggling to win, and that it's unfair. But they have to win big. That's just what they need to do.
They beat Tulsa. They beat Tulsa in the last minute.
They had to hold on to a bunch of 4th and goal, 3rd and goal stops. But can I go back to Ohio State for a second? Last week I called out the fans for storming the field. This week I know that Ryan Day probably listens to this podcast.
He does. Yeah, he's a subscriber. Oh, they don't subscribe anymore. What do?
They follow.
Oh, they follow. Yeah, he definitely follows us.
Subscribe. The verbiage is for the people that there's podcasts that you can subscribe and pay for extra.
Why do they gotta make it so difficult? Change it all the time. It's
Technology.
Like Apple.
But
Yeah, it's like Apple, man. As soon as you get used to your phone, they do an update, or and your phone doesn't work anymore. As soon as it's time for you to get a new cell phone, they zap it with some signal, and it doesn't work anymore.
But Ryan Day, run the damn ball with Travion Henderson. He is arguably the best back in the country, and CJ Stroud's throwing it all over the yard like 55 times. I think sometimes Ryan Day, he's so good and has so many plays that he thinks that he's at, he's got this playbook of all these plays, and, he's at the Cheesecake Factory. Dumb it down and go to Chipotle and run and order the same thing over and over again. You're playing Nebraska.
Go to Cane's.
Yeah, go to Raising Cane's, tell them extra toast, hold the slaw, and run it down their throats. Stop ordering every different thing on the menu. He got too cute on Saturday. There's less than 2 minutes left, and he has CJ Stroud throw the ball, and he fumbles it, and luckily the center falls on it and saves the game. Like, stop trying to be cute. I'm done.
I like how opinionated Travis is about his Buckeyes.
I like
Wes.
that. I see Travis's timeline on a college football Saturday, and Travis tells us, if you have a thought from the weekend, don't tweet it out. Put it in your notes. But Travis does not follow his advice when it comes to a Buckeye football game. It is the live tweet, raw emotion, every single play.
You can also see that we should have like a line graph of blood alcohol content versus anger management.
Well, and that's why at least with the noon games, I'm actually 11 a.m. for me now. It's early where I just start drinking when the game starts. It's those later games that can get dangerous because then it's like, when do you like a night game? It's like, when do I start drinking? You try to hold off, maybe steal a nap in there at that 4:15 window and then pour a drink, but that's when it gets dangerous.
Dude,
you do
just
have to plan
pump the
things
brakes,
out.
Man. You don't need to be completely on tilt at kickoff. Just calm down, man.
It's
Ease into it.
impossible.
Go for a run, take a nap, walk your
Mix
dog.
some electrolytes in there, Travis.
Well, that's where
Take some noon tablets.
if I do a vodka soda, the soda water and the ice, give me my water intake that I need.
I don't think that's science, man.
Or what I
think
could
it
do
is
is you could just mix like some Gatorade with your liquor. So you hydrate while you inebriate.
Are you a Jello
So
shot
Travis,
guy?
I mean, no, I'm not. If I'm at like a festival or something like that, 4th of July party, but Jello shots just, I'm not 21 anymore. They're just.
I mean, it's any shot. It's a hard no for me. I don't want any of them. I don't want anything to do with any of them.
Any shot.
It's just, I'm 45-year-old man. Any shot at my age.
wait, so you wouldn't take like a shot of Jack and then have like a beer with it?
No.
Well,
Not anymore, buddy.
I've seen video
Don't
of you
need it.
being. I've
No
seen video
reason.
of you being forced to take a shot of Jack, and the look on your face.
When was this?
When you were with Eric's concert, and you were backstage, and they forced you to take a shot.
Well, that doesn't count.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That
but the
doesn't
look.
count. That's
but
not
that was
part
special.
of this.
No, I know it
competition.
doesn't count, but the look on your face counted.
Hey, they hurt. let me read y'all something. This right here says 47% alcohol. I'm not any sort of distiller, but I think that means 94 proof, correct? So if you put that in your blood that quickly, wait a minute, how am I? Okay,
Yeah.
it hurts. It hurts a
So
lot.
I have a bottle of the Jack Daniels Eric Church one, and last year it was unopened, and I said I would open it when the Big Ten reinstated the season. So I made a drink then. That was the first time I ever opened it. And then when we beat Clemson, stupidly at I don't know, 1:30 in the morning, I tried to take a Victoria's shot. PSA, don't do that, people. It was like getting punched in the face.
Yeah, dude, just like calm down. See, Wes, we're gonna have to walk him through this. We're gonna have to hold his hand.
Well, Travis gets a lot of flack from our. Yeah, dude, you got to pace yourself, man. Travis gets a lot of crap from our colleague Jim Casey about drinking his Tito's, and Jim's like a bourbon whiskey snob. Okay, drink what you want to drink. I just think, Travis, you do need to. I don't know, man. You got to actually have a glass of water, an ice cube.
I do have
your
a water
body
bottle
is
next to
giving
me.
you the middle finger for saying that is hydration. That is not true.
Well, so wait till the week of Thanksgiving. If you think I'm on like tilt now, it's another level when we play the team up north. But I want to know, Wes, what are you like as a fan?
What am I like?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it just kind of depends on what's going on. So
Florida, Georgia
as a married
game.
man, married man, dad now, I got to trade my chips in. Okay. So the past 3 weeks has been all Braves all the time. I went to game 5, like left mama at home. Okay. So this past Saturday, Georgia's playing Mizzou,
like
noon
a fart
game.
in church.
Yeah. Georgia. No, she understood. But I almost made a PowerPoint. I was like, this is why we need to go. This is why it's worth it. This past Saturday, though, I went and did our grocery shopping during the Mizzou game. And I think that was more a reflection on the opponent. No offense to Missouri. But as I walked around and as I walked around the aisles, man, I thought I was going to be alone in there. I saw like 30 Georgia fans. They're just not worried anymore. They'll go run their errands now.
Let me tell you something, son. On that note, so I'm the grocery shopper in our house. Lainey hates a grocery store. It's fine. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that responsibility in the household. Saturday evening. So, normally the way we do it is we'll do Marty McGee, SEC Nation. We get on an airplane and we go home. And so most of the time I'm here midway through the 3:30 CBS game. And most time I'll head over to the grocery store on Saturday evening. Dude, it is bedlam up in there. The Harris Teeter in Cornelius, North Carolina is the epicenter of the globe. It's bananas. It's every aisle has 5 or 6 people in it. I don't know what's going on. I thought people partied on Saturdays and watched college football, but apparently they go to the Teeter and look at the high noons.
I don't understand why you guys with kids and all these things on your plate, why don't you have your groceries like delivered or ready to be picked up there at the store?
Because I don't want to pay $5 to do it.
Travis, that's a good question. And
it costs $5, man.
It's the payment aspect, but it's also like I hate dealing with people online. I would rather just do it myself, I think. I would rather talk to a person if something's broken at home. Like, I don't know. I guess it's just a function of that.
Are you worried that the Honeycrisp apple isn't going to be the one that you would pick?
Yeah, you think I trust some 17-year-old up at the Kroger to not pick out an apple that has a worm in it?
I understand the produce side of things why you wouldn't, but like for some other trips, I'd push that to have someone else do it. Or you got to go in the morning. That's the key. Sunday morning, get out there early. Like if the grocery store opens up at 7, be there like 7:15. I went to Publix yesterday, and there was nobody. You got a game plan when you go to the grocery store.
Wait until you have children. It's just a completely different equation. By the way, those shoulder pads on your T-shirt there, they could have landed the 747 on those things. Look at those things, dude.
This is circa 2005.
Well, I saw some Eddie George footage recently, and you talk about some shoulder pads, son. Those things were some monsters.
I think maybe once a year, every team has to play in a retro game. Throwback unis, but also throwback pads.
And equipment.
Yes. Can you imagine if you saw Leonard Fournette in these bulky shoulder pads? What that would have been.
I saw
Leonard having to wear hip pads and knee pads.
I actually texted my buddies at LSU because I saw Leonard either last Sunday or the one.
He still
Sunday
wears
before.
those shoulder pads.
Dude, that man is humongous. He's gotten bigger. Like he was already huge at LSU, but he is an absolute unit. And yeah, he wears LSU shoulder pads. Doesn't the Honey Badger too? I think a lot of those guys.
I know
do.
I think Devin White does. Yeah, you see that purple coming out of that. But yeah, I mean, the pads these days are so tiny. I mean, what was it? One of the Bennett brothers basically didn't wear shoulder pads.
Yeah, Michael Bennett.
Michael Bennett just had his shoulders. Like, there's something about watching Eddie George run down with those bulky shoulder pads. And it's crazy. Like 2005, 2006, the pads were humongous. It's not that long ago. That's what I'm going to push for. I'm going to call Greg Sankey and see if he'll champion it for me.
Is that your platform? So you're running on that platform.
Once a year, every team has a retro game. Throwback unis, throwback pads.
How many snaps on your hat are you using there?
There's 2 that aren't being used.
How many snaps you got, Wes?
I got a tiny melon.
I got a
man.
little pea head.
I'm all the way strapped up here.
I got
I'm
a big
all the
head
way too.
Yeah,
that's a melon, bro. I was just looking at how many snaps you got going on.
There's
there.
3. There's 3 that aren't being used.
Yeah, I was gonna say two's a little bit too conservative there. I think you need to up that number just a tick.
Do you want me to move one more?
No, it looks great. I'm just saying,
But
I can tell that thing's stretched to the limit.
That's not very nice.
Truth hurts sometimes. All right, let's shift gears real quick to the CMAs. Laney and I are going to be in Nashville on Wednesday.
What are you looking forward to the most non-Eric related?
Look, Laney and I love going to that show. We love it. You get to see the best of the best in the industry do their thing. Certainly the most celebrated do their thing. I would love to see, Sturgill Simpson and Cody Johnson up there playing too, but that's just me. I love the lineup that they have this year, and it's always fun just to see that evening. I think that we as a unit should kind of go through a couple of these lists and make our picks.
I've got it pulled up right now.
All right.
So you would say, Marty,
with
that
song of the year.
So you're going to be upset if Eric doesn't win Entertainer of the Year, or if he doesn't win Vocalist of the Year, or what?
Nope.
What is that? What is your stance here?
I will tell you, looking at the Entertainer of the Year group, I don't know how I could be upset. Yeah, and I'm almost being facetious in saying I'm gonna be standing up cussing.
And this is Eric Church, Luke Combs, Miranda Lambert, Stapleton, and Carrie Underwood.
Ballers.
Yeah.
All of them are ballers. I mean, I don't know who's going to win. But
I think Luke's going to end up winning.
And what's your reasoning?
I think right now he crosses over everything. Like he's moved into that. Even non-country fans are fans of him and embraced him, and he's just kind of right now that guy. Like his tour is taken off, his albums, like I think he just has everything that they want to win.
He breathes on a microphone and it's a #1 hit. Sounds like.
I think they're going to give it to him because I think there's other things at play that he crosses over outside of country music fans that they kind of want to.
I think a lot of people on this list do.
Mm-hmm.
I think a whole lot of those individuals are celebrated outside of the country music genre. I mean, you got Adele right now saying Chris Stapleton is her dream collaboration.
I can't wait to hear that song. It's going to be unreal.
So, I mean, it's impossible to make a pick. I just every single one of these 5 individuals is worthy of the
Miranda Lambert
the
has
banner.
Personally grown on me a lot this past year. I like the sound that she has uncovered, I guess. It is a lot more, she's had a lot more acoustic kind of tracks. I don't know. She's always been great, but I don't know. This past year, I found myself listening to her a lot more. But you're right. You can't lose with this group right here. But my gut, I'm with you, Travis. I feel like it's Luke. I just feel like he has so much momentum. I don't know. I don't see it really being anyone but him, but can't lose. All right. So what did you say, Marty? Song of the year?
Hold on, let's go.
Single
Let
of the
me
year.
let me scroll down here to my list. All right, we're going to start with Song of the Year because it's about the writers. All right, you got Forever After All, Luke, Drew Parker, and Robert Williford. The good ones, Gabby Barrett, Zach Cale, Emily Landis, and Jim McCormick. Hell of a View, Chief, Casey, and Monty. One Night
Casey
Standards.
Just smiling in that pic.
Yeah, man. What a stud. One Night Standards, Ashley, Nicole Hayford, and Shane McAnally. And Starting Over, Chris and Mike Henderson. Again, I mean, like, it's like picking a kid. It really is. To me, this one's probably between Forever After All and Hell of a View, and Hell of a View got me through COVID. So, if Hell of a View ain't it, I'll be surprised.
Yeah,
I could see that one. I could see Stapleton grabbing this one.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Hell of a View getting you through COVID. Like Starting Over could have been that song for a lot of people too, because it came out, it's like about starting over. Like it's crazy how competitive Church and Stapleton are this year on so many different categories.
Yeah, but it just it makes perfect sense that they're in so many categories. All right, so our nominees for Album of the Year: 29, Carly Pearce; Dangerous, Morgan; Heart, Chief; Skeletons, Brothers Osborne; and Starting Over, Stapleton. It's just, again, this is an impossible decision to make. I can't wait to see how they all vote. Of course, Heart is amazing. Look, it depends on what they want, what statement wants to be made. I mean, Morgan's record is insane. Congratulations to him. He just sold out Rupp Arena 3 consecutive nights and sold 36,000 tickets in like 90 minutes.
Well, I mean, we've talked to people about it. There's a lot of political games that are played with with these awards, and who do they want to win it? And so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, what kind of statement do they want?
And the other thing is, fans have always known it, but I feel like of late, fans are kind of making it known when they're not happy with how some of these awards are given out. And so I wonder if some of that pushback will start to maybe change how they go about the voting for these things. Because now, we talked about Twitter, social media has given the fans a voice and be able to express when they're unhappy with how things go because they feel that the wrong person won.
This is going to be a fascinating show. I'm so excited we get to go.
Do you have your suit and shoes picked out?
I do.
What are we going with?
Lainey has labored over the dress that she's going to wear. I mean, it's been like she's been shopping for a wedding dress or something. I mean, it has given her so much heartburn. I am going to wear my black camo suit coat.
And
maybe some cowboy boots.
Oh, okay. Jeans. So we're not I didn't know if you'd go Jays or.
No, I don't think so. I may go Jays. Who knows? All right, male vocalist of the year: Dirks, Chief, Luke, TR, and Chris. That's an impossible one. Female vocalist of the year: Gabby Barrett, Miranda, Ashley McBride, Marin Morris, and Carly Pearce. And as we said, entertainer of the year is Chief, Luke, Miranda, Chris, and Carrie. And
I think Carly wins female vocalist of the year.
Do you?
Yeah. I think back to the
she feels like
momentum.
she has that momentum.
The momentum.
She has a lot of momentum, but
she's got
man,
that
Ashley
album.
McBride does too.
I agree. I think again this goes into Carly being a bigger brand outside of the country world.
Why does that matter?
I think it matters to a lot of people that they want to expand. I don't think the voting is always who the best is. It's what they want to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to us per se, but we have to take into account, like, are we picking who we think should win, or are we picking who we think will win? And if that's the case, then yeah, I think it's Carly for female.
I think Ashley's the best, but I don't. It's kind of. It's almost like
she's so damn good.
It's almost like picking the CFP. Is it the best or deserving?
There we go. Now we're getting somewhere.
It's a lot like and there's a lot of politics. All right. Well, I can't wait to get there. I'll report back next Wednesday or whatever the hell day we do this. I'll report back next Monday on my experience. I'm going to see Eric twice in a week. I'll see him Wednesday night, and then he's playing Thompson Bowling Arena on Friday night at the University of Tennessee, and we will be there for Marty and McGee.
Oh, wow.
So I am going to.
So that means you will be you're not even going to be partly cloudy. It's just a full-blown thunderstorm for you on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's going to be a tornadic event on Saturday morning on the Tennessee campus for old Martin over here.
Just have them send a runner over to pick you up from the hotel, because you're going to need like 10 wake-up calls, a couple coffees.
Does Lainey go on the road with you often for these things, or is this like a special occasion?
She will just be going with me on. She doesn't go very often.
Wes, do you think Lainey cares about the sports shows that he does?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Nope.
I've ruined my wife on sports. I mean, she doesn't watch them anymore. So
I think there's maybe.
I was wondering.
I think we've done 4 interviews that Lainey has cared about. It was Patrick Dempsey, Chase Rice because he was on Survivor, and then maybe one other person. Like she don't care about the sports stuff, does she, Marty?
She will be coming to Tennessee because she wants to see Eric play on Friday night, and she'll see Marty and McGee live for the first time, actually.
Wow.
So, yep, it's going to be a good time. Can't wait to get there. Love that campus. Love that place. I was just there to do a big feature on Hendon Hooker, Tennessee's quarterback. He's a great kid, great young man who they had a huge win on Saturday night. You can feel that thing shifting. You can feel it shifting in a hurry, and that's really hard to do. You know, changing a program and changing a culture is a hell of a challenge, and man, has Josh Heupel done a good job. And
he really has, man.
He has done such a good job. I wonder how Wes feels about this weekend. I think
I have a lot of friends who are Tennessee fans, and I grew up in Metro Atlanta. Okay, so a melting pot of families, and we're from around the Southeast, or whatever. So a lot of my friends saw Tennessee have a great amount of success in the 90s, and that's all I heard about when Georgia was not having a great amount of success. And they're still some of my best friends. So I feel like I know that program pretty well, and I think it's interesting that like people understand realistically Georgia is favored in the game. Obviously, they'll probably win, more than likely win. But the conversation going into this game is, does Tennessee have what it takes to score the most points against Georgia? Like that's the barometer. And I don't know if it's that hot of a take to say that they do. And I kind of expect that they will. I think going in to Rocky Top, it's always difficult, no matter how good Tennessee is. And I think they have what it takes to score. I think, what is it, 30? Was it 13 is the mark right now? So, yeah, I expect Tennessee 13 to score more than 13 against Georgia.
Well, think about it. I mean, we saw Tennessee compete against Bama. So they're no longer that game where you're just like, we'll win, get the starters will get pulled. Like, it's a game that as a fan, you're like a little on edge. Like, this season's been crazy. Is this
SEC, man?
Is this the week that we get got, or is this ride gonna keep continuing? But you can't right now just take a game against Tennessee as a victory. You can't just assume that.
No. Nope.
Speaking of the CMAs, our buddy Breland will be performing with Dierks Bentley and Hardy there at the 55th CMA Awards. And last week, you guys heard part 1 of my conversation with Breland, and it's time for part 2. Thank you so much for the response to part 1. I've heard from so many of you guys about how much you enjoyed that. Part 2's every bit as good. What a unique path. Here is part 2 of our conversation with Breland on the Marty Smith podcast here at Outsider. Recently, you've toured or played with or collaborated with Keith Urban, Dierks Bentley, Chase Rice, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Who have you met? And I know you did just tell us one just a second ago that might be this answer. Who left you the most speechless? That they knew you and knew your work?
I mean, honestly, I think when it came to Keith reaching out, that one really surprised me. And mostly just because it was so early in my career. I literally only had maybe 2 songs out, and he reached out and was like, "Hey, what's up? It's Keith Urban. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. I am working on my album right now. I think it's mostly done, but I have 1 song left and I want to make it with you." And I'm like, what? I was like, yo, start to finish, everything in this message is ridiculous. And he was like, yeah, just let me know, whenever you're in Nashville. And I wasn't living in Nashville at the time. I was living in Atlanta. And I was like, I'll be there tomorrow, dude. I'll be there tomorrow morning. And I drove up and went to his house at like 8 a.m. I'd left at like 5 in the morning. And he was like, oh, dude, I'm not even ready. So he was like, you can wait in the studio. He didn't know I was coming that early, but I was so eager. And we ended up making a couple songs on that trip. One is Out the Cage that I'm featured on his project. And then the second one is Throw It Back that I put out featuring him. But just the fact that he had his ear to the streets so much that he knew of a new artist that only had a couple songs out and then also wanted to work with that person just kind of shows me how much of a visionary he is and how much of a true creative he is. He wasn't playing any of the industry politic games. He was just like, I like what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. I would like for you to be a part of what I'm doing. And it happened. And I think that one really blew my mind.
I'd imagine. I mean, that's one of those guys. That's one of those mega stars who has nothing left to prove, who's done it all, and who continues to evolve, which is beautiful in that format, is the evolution process. What impact does a superstar collaboration or endorsement have on a young artist's career and credibility?
I mean, it's major. It's major. It's like the equivalent of being recruited by an SEC school or Ohio State for football, or you know what I mean? Like it's that validation. You could have ended up going D3 and doing D3 collaborations, and sometimes those people still make it to the league, but the chances definitely go up when you have the backing of some of those powerhouses. And I think, having music with Keith, but also more importantly, when it comes to some of these guys that I have music with, and then also some of these partnerships that I've done, like the Chevy partnership, it gives me a chance to learn. I'm as a young artist and as a young business person, these are all people that I learn from and can ask questions. And there's an element of mentorship there. And I would say even with the Chevy partnership, just seeing what that looks like and what we can create and how to continue to build that relationship as well as the relationships with the artists that I'm working with. All of those things are important lessons for a young artist and a young entrepreneur to learn. So I just look at it as a student. I'm excited to be here to have a seat at a lot of these tables and to be able to soak up game from people and organizations that have been doing this for a lot longer than me.
Yeah, I want to dive into the Chevy relationship a little further in just a minute, but
yeah,
let's discuss a couple more of these artists first.
For sure.
Another friend of yours is Dierks Bentley.
Yeah.
You went out on a road with Dierks.
Yep.
What impact did that have, and what did you learn from him?
Yeah, that was major. I mean, Dierks has obviously had a lot of success at country radio in particular, and his live show is just a blast. But he took the single that I'm featured on, Beers on Me, with my guy Hardy as well. He took that single to country radio at a time where I hadn't had any success at country radio. So for him to kind of extend his platform to help introduce me to a whole new audience, and then to be on the road with him, because my shows, I'm doing small clubs, so we've got 200, 300 cap venues, and I love doing it because people come out, and especially when we sell out, there's a lot of energy in that room. But it's really hard to compete with knowing that Dirks is out here with 10 to 15,000 people a night, and I get to come out on stage with him and sing a couple songs, and that energy is electric. And so it's just helped me. It's helped me grow a lot as a performer. Obviously, it's helped me at country radio, and also he's another person that's been at this for a good 20 years, and just someone that I look up to. And he does a lot of things the right way. The only way that you can survive and thrive as an artist for that long is if you're treating people well and if you're working hard. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to be able to treat people well and then continue to work hard. And if you don't let your foot up off the pedal in either of those regards, good things tend to happen.
It's funny, man. My kids are so tired of hearing it. I've said it on this podcast before. I said it to your guy, Chase Rice. We just had him on in
Awesome.
that seat that you're in, or right beside the one you're in here recently. I feel like in a world of uncontrollables, we control three things every day. We control kindness, we control effort, and we control passion.
Yep.
We decide if we're going to be nice. We decide how bad we want it and how hard we're willing to work. And we decide if we're going to have an undeniable positive energy.
That is
us.
true.
That's ours.
Right.
And it's exactly what you're saying right there. And you're right. Dirks is the embodiment of that.
Definitely,
He's a wonderful
man.
human being.
Yeah, all of the people that I've collaborated with, I've been really fortunate that all of them are really good guys and girls. They're just, country music in particular, I think people tend to be a little bit more relatable. It's not a whole lot of people that have ego, and I honestly believe that if you're writing songs and performing songs, you should never have an ego. You should never get caught up in the, oh, people think I'm this, people, I might be. You can't ever drink your own Kool-Aid, because you have to continue to be able to relate to people. That's what it's about. And the minute you lose that relatability, people aren't going to continue to listen to your music. So I think there definitely are more artists who are able to accomplish that in country music than otherwise. But even with a guy like Nelly, who's kind of country adjacent, and I have a couple songs that I've written with Nelly and one that we have out, but he's just one of the nicest guys and super down to earth, and you can have a real conversation with him. And I think for all of those people, that's part of why I'm in the position I'm in, is that I've been able to connect with people who have extended, hey, come perform with me, or hop on this song, or come do this thing. And they care about me as a person and my well-being, and vice versa, where it's real relationships. And when you have collaborations with people that you have real relationships with, it's even doper when that song does well, or when you crush it after a performance, or any number of those things.
You do a really good job of using sports analogies that are very relatable to your business and your path and your passion. I have to believe, I've not met Nelly.
Yeah.
I have to believe he does the same thing.
Yes.
Am I right?
You are.
Yes.
You are entirely correct, man. I mean, Nelly is a part owner of the Hornets, and a really big sports fan, and has been for a number of years. Like, when we wrote the song High Horse, the Sixers were playing. Who were we playing? Might have been the Raptors. Anyway, the Sixers lost in the last 15 seconds of the game, but we were coming up with this hit song. And I was like, that's a tough moment. And I was just like, Nelly, give me like 5 minutes. I'm gonna shake it off. I'm gonna be back, and we finish up this verse. And he was like, what happened? I was like, I showed him the score. He was like, oh, he's like, that's killer. And he totally got it. He totally understood it. And I was like, okay, cool. You and me, we're right here. Sports fans in music, Chase is another guy, and Dirks too. Honestly, they all love sports, and I think that's part of why I connect with them, is because we have things even outside of music that I'm like, we could just hang out and watch something, and that's obviously a really easy way to form relationships.
Sure is. All right, let's discuss the Chevy relationship. How did that materialize?
Yeah, man. So my truck had kind of been popping on TikTok. It's the song that put me on the map, and Chevy wanted to launch a TikTok and kind of do the whole TikTok campaign for their new Silverado, and it was kind of an organic partnership with them, given that the song had done so well on TikTok, and they had the idea to partner up and do like a Chevy specific version of the song, kind of reimagine some of the lyrics with some custom lines about the trucks that we were trying to sell. And it just made a lot of sense, man. They understand that the future of everything is diverse, right? There's nothing that's gonna just be monolithic moving forward, monochromatic. Everything is going to be diverse, and I think they recognize that and wanted to reach a younger and more diverse group of hopefully future truck drivers and truck owners and people who want to be a part of that community. And that song inspired a lot of people to buy trucks. When it came out, I got a bunch of messages from people like, oh my gosh, like I love this song and I don't even have a truck. The next vehicle I'm getting is going to be a truck. And I think they kind of peeped that and felt like it would be a good idea to join forces. And it was a really successful campaign. The initial campaign on TikTok, we got like some 80 million views, which was
that's insane, man.
Which is like crazy.
TikTok's crazy.
TikTok is crazy.
It's funny, bro. Right now, as you and me speak, my wife is upstairs in our home here in Charlotte. She is trying her damnedest to figure out how we grow TikTok for my ESPN life, because when you see, and it's not just you. It's so many of your peers, especially it's so interesting to me. 90s country stars like Tracy Lawrence and Travis Tritt and some other guys that we've had on this podcast have all said to me, we are trying to figure out TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. Oh, Clay Walker. They're all trying to figure this thing out because it's just such a perfect, what's the right word? There are no obstacles. It's a direct conduit to the fan.
Yep. Yeah, and also just the way that their algorithm is, anything can go viral. Right. You could put something up you could put a simple, silly 5-second video up on TikTok, and it could, in a matter of hours, be seen by millions of people. They're really for no money, right? Like there's no other platform on the internet or elsewhere that you can just put something up and then millions of people who don't even follow you can see it, because it's an avalanche type of an app where once a certain amount of people engage with it, they open it up to even more people, and they open it up to even more people, and you can't beat that. And so I think Chevy realized this is the easiest way for us to reach a new and younger audience of people. And it was a successful campaign. So they nailed it when it came to that. And from there, we just had a really good time shooting that and working together. And they were like, we want to do more stuff. And I was like, that's great, because I want to do more stuff. And that kind of led us to our most recent iteration of the campaign with the season opener.
I love it. Just full disclosure, I am a Ram Trucks guy. I have a Ram Trucks PSA through the college football playoff and ESPN. But it is indisputable that the Chevy Silverado is the official truck of country music. I mean, that truck is everywhere. Like, Morgan's single Silverado for sale is outrageously. I mean, that to me is a copyright song. We're going to be singing that song 30 years from now.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just that I'm gonna have to put that out on social media. Is the Silverado the official truck of country music? And I know you will vote yes.
Oh, I will definitely.
All right,
vote
couple more, and I'll get you out of here. I'm sorry that we've kept you so long already.
Oh, dude, you're good, man.
I saw a note. You were talking about how country music now has no boundaries and the diversity that's coming in. Right. I saw a note on social media of a guy who said, hey, I doubted you. I didn't give you any chance, but you changed my tune. You did it.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about what you're doing when you get that type of feedback?
Yeah. I mean, it's an odd message to get in a way, because it's like, well, why did you doubt me in the first place, right? But
Right.
but then secondly, it's
Exactly.
like everybody has their perceptions, and I think especially when you have a song that's kind of, fun, kind of tongue in cheek, like My Truck, that blows up on the internet, a lot of people don't realize that it wasn't just a happy accident. It was years of me putting in work to be able to create a song like that intentionally and then be able to make other songs after it. They don't see all of the work that goes in on the front end. So to them, it seems like I'm not going to say that I'm Tom Brady, but I will say that a lot of people doubted Tom Brady when he came into the NFL.
Sure did.
And he has literally proven everyone wrong. People came in, they're like, he's slow. He's all of the things that they said on his scouting report coming out of Michigan. For him to then come off the bench and become the greatest quarterback of all time, I feel like no one really knows what someone is capable of. And as you said, with those three things, with effort and passion and, was it kindness?
Yep.
Yeah, with those three things, you control your own destiny in that regard. You can put that work in to get however far you believe you can get. No one else can put a cap on that. So it doesn't really bother me that people doubt me, because they don't know what it is that I'm capable of, and they don't know the full complement of skills and drive that I have to use those skills to go towards something meaningful. So I guess for me, I just try to remember that I don't have to prove them wrong. I don't do it to prove them wrong, but I know that I will inevitably prove a lot of people wrong in the process, so long as I stay focused on what it is that I set out to do.
That's amazing. I can relate to what you're saying so well, because when I first became a journalist, I was a writer. I was a writer for 6 years. I moved to TV. When I left for TV, for ESPN, people that I worked with before scoffed. They laughed in my face. You're never going to make it. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying this? Well, then I covered auto racing all the way through 2014. Exclusively. That's all I was. ESPN saw something in me. They dropped me in college football. Everybody's like, what in the world is this hillbilly doing covering college football? And then that really worked. So they moved me into golf as well. They moved me into horse racing, these things where I was completely foreign to the consumer base.
Right.
But I'm like, listen, I won't be out-passioned. I won't be outworked. Just watch. Just watch what happens.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that. I love seeing that shift when somebody comes around and goes, hey, I was wrong about you, man.
Yeah. And they have to eventually. There's a certain point where you've done a number of things where they can no longer deny what it is that's happening. And I think it's good to see those things, but also it's good to have that internal fire of knowing, regardless of what anybody might think you're capable of, where you know that there's more left in store for you and where you believe it, and go out and do it.
I want to jump back to that tweet a minute, or whatever it was, Instagram, something. Do you get a lot of criticism? And if you do, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I get a lot of criticism from people who are either kind of, more traditional country fans, or even more traditional hip hop fans who maybe don't appreciate the mixing of the two. But the way that I respond to it is, I don't think anyone has ever made history doing something exactly the same way as someone else. All of the people that we have referred to in music and in sports have done something differently. And people would have probably said that a quarterback like Lamar Jackson would never be able to win MVP because he's an unconventional quarterback. He's not like a traditional pocket passer. That's how I see myself. I'm like a mobile quarterback in a way, where it's like, I can run for 100 yards, but I can also stand back here and pass for 250. I might not have the 400-yard passing game, but I might have 400 total yards at the end of the game. That's how I feel. I'm bringing different skills in, and people just haven't seen someone with that particular amalgamation of skills to be able to recognize what's possible. But that's not to say that it isn't valid or that it won't work.
That is a beautiful analogy. And on top of what you're saying, not only does Lamar Jackson have that skill set, he also went to an organization and a coach that allowed him to accentuate that skill set because they took what he was and built around what he is.
Right.
They did not try to make him something that he is not. And if
Right.
you have a label and you have people like Keith Urban and Dierks Bentley and Chase and all these folks believing in you and letting you run the offense that you were born to run, then you have a much better opportunity to become great and win an MVP.
Yeah, it would be really easy from a music industry perspective to be like, okay, we have to make him like more country, we have to make him more whatever. But it's like, well, let me just be myself and understand that I love country music, I love hip hop, I love gospel, I love R&B. I'm gonna try to continue to blend it as best as I know how, because that's what I feel called to do, and that's what I think I'm good at doing as an artist, and it seems to be working. And luckily, I do have a lot of people around me on the industry side, but also a lot of supporters who listen to the music who can respect that I'm doing it a little bit differently, and that definitely feels good to have that support.
Well, we certainly do here at Outsider, brother. I love your spirit. I'm so grateful that you took the time to spend that time with me and with us today and our listeners. They're going to learn a lot about you listening to this. And again, if you ever decide that you're done creating excellence in the music space and you want to be a sports analyst, you just let me know, because you're ready. You're ready,
Hey, man.
You are ready.
I watch a lot of different sports, and to be able to come on here and chat with you about music and sports, which are my two favorite things, I really appreciate you having me on here.
Thank you so much, man. Be well and God bless.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
Wes said it. Breland's on fire. What a unique talent. And I love the way that he's approaching everything with such tremendous humility and tremendous gratitude for the opportunities that he's getting and he's earning.
I love how he says that Keith Urban reaches out to him and he immediately gets to Nashville, and Keith's like, I'm not ready yet. I need a couple more hours, but that's just how his energy, and that him labeling it as cross country, I think is a great way to describe. People always get up in arms on, is it country or is it whatever? Like, this cross country is a great way to describe it. Yeah, like, yeah, it's country. It's a little pop. It's a little this. It's a little that. Like, it could be country and also some other genres. And I think his phrase of it is awesome.
Yeah, good's good. I mean, there are certainly still genres in terms of the way that artists are slotted and what they're trying to accomplish. But these days, especially with newer country music, almost all of it is crossing lines. At least the commercial country music. So congratulations to him. We really appreciate him coming in and sitting in the studio and hanging out with us and having a good time. And thanks to both of you knuckleheads. I love spending time with y'all. Thank you for taking the time to hang out here. We'll do it every week, y'all. If you enjoy it, Travis, what do?
Rate, review, and follow.
They rate, review, and follow. Don't subscribe yet. We're free. You don't have to subscribe. Travis, that thing must have been getting tight on that noggin. He just opened it up a little further.
Yeah. I was just
he
trying
went
to show
all the
you
way
guys.
to one. Is there only one button fixed?
2.
What is he doing, Wes?
The largest knucklehead in the studio
I mean,
belongs to Travis.
Look at that.
Shameless plug here. Travis is also working on us, for you Yellowstone fans out there, on launching a recap show each week. And the first one just hit the airwaves, I guess you could say, Monday. So
we won't
check
say
that out too.
anything. We don't want to spoil anything, but if you're a Yellowstone fan, it's out there on Spotify, and Outsiders pushing it out there on their social media accounts.
Stay tuned. We got a whole lot coming at Outsider. We have so much exciting stuff on the horizon that we can't wait to share with you guys, not only verbally, but in your living room.
Sanskrit too.
Yeah, we might send some smoke signals, speak some Sanskrit, and send a T-shirt. But thank y'all. We love having the opportunity to spend this time with you. Thank you for your investment in us and your time and fellowship. one thing that somebody sent me on social media, Laney told me that somebody wrote me and said, hey, fellowship is not a verb. Fellowship is a noun.
They never been to the churches that I've
They
went to.
ain't been to my church because it's a verb. Anyway, I love fellowshipping with you two idiots. Have a great day, and we'll do it again next time around. One more time. Thank you so much to our law enforcement officials all over the country. Thank you so much to our fire and rescue teams, our EMTs and first responders, and every single veteran and every single active member of the United States military, all branches. We are grateful for your sacrifice. This is the Marty Smith Podcast with Travis and Wes on Outsider. Have a great week, y'all.